What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Locker Podcast. I'm Brandon,
And I'm Jimmy.
and it's us.
Yeah, just the two of us.
Just the two people with faces for radio.
And a body for radio. At least your body's halfway decent. I'm all set for sitting on the couch and talking.
You haven't seen me in a while, so point is, no one has to look at us, and that's everyone's favorite part about these podcasts.
Excellent. You know what? I didn't even think about that. We're going to change our profile pics on Nerd Locker, and it'll be like the 18-year-old versions of ourselves, and we'll say, hey, we'll catfish everybody. This is us now.
Exactly. So I was going to start this week. I was going to let you start this week because there was news that I knew you would be so goddamn excited for. And I know probably a lot of other people are wondering, like, what's the big deal about this? And I know it's a big deal to you. But Quantum and Woody is getting developed at TBS for a TV show.
Well, let's jump in the Wayback Machine and go to Jimmy Palmquist, circa 1995, maybe somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact date. And I'm really kind of falling out of love with comics. High school Jimmy is experiencing
haircut.
Girls. Oh yeah, the 90s I thought were cool, but now that we're way past it,
90s haircut you've ever seen.
That was bad. But still, girls somehow noticed me and felt sorry for me, I guess. But I was really kind of falling out of love with comics because it was about that time where we had maximum clonage from Spider-Man, and that was like the worst idea ever. X-Men were okay, but we were kind of just droning on. It was what was I always talk about Prime? Is that what? What was it? The thing I hate the most, and I can't remember what the stupid character was that was the combination of Professor X and yes, Onslaught. Oh my god, I hated that storyline. So I really was kind of falling out of love with what Marvel and DC were putting out. But a little comic book company, I believe it started as Acclaim Comics, but when I found them, it was Valiant. They had created a comic book, Christopher Priest, Quantum and Woody. And I'm like, okay, well, sounds goofy. Let's give it a go. It was the best action comedy comic book I had ever read. The comedy was point on. It was just awesome. That one character, Quantum, took this shit so serious, and he was stoked to be a superhero. And on the flip side, you have Woody, who was the exact opposite and used his real name and didn't give a crap about anything. And they just happened to be stepbrothers. Actually brothers because one was adopted, and it was just awesome. Loved it. And then flash forward to, God, was it 6 years ago we were at Comic-Con, and they were relaunching Quantum and Woody, and we got to interview the current writer at the time, James Asmus, and he did a great job bringing it back. But
that was a really good series, and he's a very cool guy.
Yeah, he is. He really is. And it wasn't the same, but he put his own spin on it and captured the ridiculousness of what Quantum and Woody is, and I loved it. So I have no idea what version TBS is going to go with, what tone, but you can't deny the fact that Quantum and Woody and the comedy action, I can't wait to see it, and I'm so glad they're doing a TV version of it because I think you're going to be able to tell more of the story versus, well, here's your 2-hour movie, here's your origin story, part of it, and then kind of wrap it up. And it's hard with movies that aren't DC or Marvel because everybody pretty much knows those characters, so you can skirt over some of the origin story. But with your Image Comics and your, in this case, Valiant, you really can't do that. You have to delve a little deeper. And I think telling it in an episodic version on TV, I'm assuming like 10 episodes, is going to be a much better way to go. So I am super stoked. I didn't hear this. You posted it, and I saw it come across my feed. I'm like, holy crap, I cannot wait. You're super stoked.
You're like, I get my news from Nerd Locker.
Exactly. As should everybody out there on the interwebs.
We're gonna be back to delivering all that news. Don't you worry, you guys.
Exactly.
No, like I didn't know anything about it, and I remember you getting stoked at Comic-Con, and the series that came out. There was another series that came out too, right? There's been 2.
There's been a couple like story arcs that have come out since that first relaunch.
Okay, like it's ended and they've had a second number 1, correct?
Yes, they've, because I think they had a couple storyline, like they knew they'd be just short short runs, 4 episodes, geez, 4 issues or so. But I think they completely relaunched it again. But I haven't
Okay.
kept up with that one.
Yeah, either way, the issue that I read was a lot of fun. Like I thought that was or not the issue, the series, which was the first relaunch from Valiant, was a lot of fun. I love the goat. Like I love everything about that book, and I think as a buddy cop like comedy, that should be perfect for TV. I mean, like superheroes are obviously the thing right now. You know, they're everybody's kind of getting in on it, but I think this would be a really good kind of like it's not as serious as the Avengers,
Yeah,
but it's not like you know um I don't know. I think this is a good move for TV. I think you can tell a lot more with the story. You really get to know the characters. I just hope it's given a fair chance.
that I'm glad it's on TBS because I think that gives it more freedom than if it was on like one of the major networks.
Fox or fucking
Yeah, NBC.
NBC. Well,
Yeah,
if it was Fox
Constantine.
or NBC, it would almost definitely get canceled 6 episodes in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're right about the tone because it's got its comedy like The Tick, but it's also got its serious moments like a Black Lightning or Flash or Green Arrow.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping they can translate that, and I'm stoked. I don't know how the Russo brothers are finding the time to do this.
I got to tell you, that was part of the news that I was like, well, shit, they're really going to put some effort into this. Like, that's another thing is sometimes when you see things get announced, you almost wonder, like, how much effort's going to be put into it. Like, if they're just kind of going to hope it works out or whatever. But the fact that they're producing it, and was it the writer of Ant-Man 2?
I honestly, let me look it up. I did not see that. And
I
while we're
thought it
talking about
was.
it, Brandon, because I know you're always wanting to hear these things. James Asmus, as we all know, is from Cleveland,
Ah,
and that was really
yes.
cool. And I honestly did not know this until I just looked it up. The Russo brothers are from, oh my God, Cleveland.
Well, the Yankees beat them tonight, so that's cool.
Yeah, we're still in first
Um,
place, even though we're like at 500. So yeah, really doesn't matter.
but
Oh my God, I did, and I just looked it up on IMDb. Do you know who's rumored to play Woody?
who?
Joe McHale.
All right, that'd be dope. That
That would
actually
be
be
pretty
really dope.
awesome.
That'd be so dope. Like that's off to a good start.
Yeah, that because that I hadn't even gotten to the point of casting, but Joel McHale in like Community, that's kind of the character where it's like I don't care, I don't want to be here, this is stupid.
That okay. So who would play Quantum?
Huh? Somebody who's that serious because it'd have to be somebody who's just. You know what? I'd hate to say it. It'd be was it Cress Williams who plays Black Lightning would be awesome because he's pretty
That would be
serious,
dope.
but obviously he's
I think Joel
preoccupied.
McHale would be a really good fit in that. Like that would be. I hope he has like the time and
Yeah, I
want
hope
to
that's
do
true.
something like that because that would be cool as hell.
I'd be disappointed now if that doesn't happen. There's no writer listed, so I don't know who's writing it.
Hmm. I thought. I swear to God, I thought it was the. I thought it was Ant-Man 2 writer.
Let's see.
Either way,
Sadly, I don't even know who wrote Ant Man 2.
I don't
It
either
was
off the top of my
fantastic.
head. Sorry, guys. How did you like that movie?
Chris McKenna, Eric Summers. Sorry, hold on a minute. Paul Rudd got a writing credit. Good for you, dude.
Oh yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp screenwriters Andrew Barrier, Gabriel Ferrari
Yeah,
writing the plot. Cool.
that is cool. Um, you know what? I think the tough thing about Ant Man and Wasp, which I enjoyed, I did. I think part of I'll give you my slew of things that I thought were kind of against it. And don't get me wrong, because I love the movie. I think there's a little oversaturation of the Marvel Universe at the moment because this is really the first time where we've had um, almost like every other month of a movie from them. And I
Yeah.
think we definitely saw that with Solo, where I personally think Solo was a very good movie, put together well. It had the elements to be a good movie, but it's like 5 months after The Last Jedi. It's like you got to give us time to breathe, guys. This is getting ridiculous. Um,
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that they're deciding to take. it's weird. I'm a little disappointed that they're deciding to take a break because it didn't do well,
Yeah,
but
that really bums me out.
it also kind of felt like, I don't know. I like the Star Wars movies. I just
Yeah,
do. And I want to see more backstory and more lore. Like I mean, I've said this 100 times. I've wished they would do like Harry Potter expanded universe. I love expanded universe. I love learning origin stories. I love, seeing people's pasts and, futures and things like that. Like, I'm a comic book fan. This is what we're into.
yeah,
Um, but I do feel like Solo itself was approached half, like he approached 50%. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
even halfway through, they had to get Ron Howard to fix it all, and I think that kind of reflected in the you know payoff of the movie or whatever. But I just think it's almost like DC, where it's like, dude, just take a break
Yeah.
and do it right. You don't
And
have to rush these out.
I think that's part of the problem with the Star Wars universe is that if you look at it, this is only the fourth movie that Disney's done. Well, if you look at the fourth Marvel movie that was done, what was that? Uh, Iron Man 2,
Yeah,
which I know your affinity for it, but it really doesn't hold up against the other ones. They were still trying to figure their way around this universe,
Iron Man 2 is still a really good movie though.
according to you. But yeah, so they're still trying to figure out this universe. And I think that's the thing. Disney Marvel has clearly nailed it on how to put these things together and make a good movie. Whether there's people in the audience that don't like it or whatever, but I think Star Wars is still looking at the problems that Kathleen Kennedy has had, getting the right director with the right screenwriters with the right actors. Because when I went in and saw Solo, I was obviously, I think everybody wanted to see Harrison Ford playing Solo again. Clearly, that's not going to happen. So you have these expectations. Okay, let's see it. And I thought that kid Alden did fantastic. I was like, wow, that wasn't bad at
He
all.
wasn't my first choice, but yeah, he did better than I had anticipated. And I was so set on the kid from Kingsman.
Oh God, I love that kid.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
I
so
could see
set on
that.
him. Was it Taron? Taron
Egan something, Egan Taryn.
Egerton.
So
Hey
yeah,
guys, guess what? Brandon's still bad at saying people's names. Regardless, yeah, I was set on him, but no, he did a good job. But I also think like you took a character and it's weird because it's like, oh, I want to see where Han Solo came from, but I also want to see Harrison Ford play him. And like, guys, he's old as fuck. He hated playing Harrison Ford. That's why he asked to be fucking murdered. Like,
yeah.
just let it go. You have the movies. You can always look back and be like, what a heartthrob badass. But someone else can be Solo for a movie.
And that's the thing that I loved watching it is we see his relationship with Lando, and if you have a problem with Donald Glover playing Lando, if you didn't like that at
Dude,
all,
that was the
that
best
you're a
fucking
moron.
part.
I think we talked about this. I literally thought they had dubbed Billy D. Williams' voice when we first meet him because I'm like, that sounds just like Billy D. And then you find out, no, Donald Glover just is that
No,
fucking talented that he's able
Donald
to.
Glover is like the most talented fucking person on the planet. He's so good at everything, like
No kidding.
incredible. And
And
it's almost
we'll
like
take a sidestep. If you did not like his video, "This Is America," then
you
don't
probably
fucking
voted
watch or listen to
Republican.
Nerd Locker. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
That thing
Well,
was gorgeous. It was
you,
art.
you also probably voted Republican. So
Yeah. So then, still get the fuck out of here.
yeah,
But no, I really loved seeing the Kessel Run. I mean, we hear about it a million times. Every Star Wars fan knows the idea of what it is, but we've never seen it.
yeah.
So to actually see it, it was like, oh my god, they pulled this off, and I can see why Han Solo brags about this all the
Fuck yeah.
goddamn time.
He's like, hey, I did this.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well that makes sense. And honestly, the only real big problem I had with Solo was they killed off Thandie Newton like right away. That was shocking and disappointing.
Yeah. The thing about the Kessel Run, which like it was such a opportunity to fuck it up. Like
Yeah,
it's one of those things that it's almost like you've heard it for so long and it's become such a thing in pop culture and just references with the movie and references with the character that you're almost like, all right, yeah, it's just this thing that everybody brags about. But it's like the fact that they took that and made it a serious thing and a good thing, like I thought that was incredible.
Well, look at the exact opposite with the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker. We knew this had happened. We knew Anakin lost this battle, but that he was just scarred beyond belief because of the lava. And when they actually show it, it's like, oh, huh, that's stupid.
On the
Okay.
flip side, the thing that saved that entire fight, and we were just talking about this before we started recording,
Hmm.
is the Darth Vader solo book right now from Marvel
Oh,
is one
yeah.
of the best Star Wars books I've ever read in my life. Like, you guys pick up the first trade. It's currently at issue 18. Pick up the first 2 or 3 trades, whatever it is, and fucking read this book. It is one of the best goddamn books I've ever read.
And like we were talking before, it's the one that started in 2017,
Yeah.
not the one that was 2015, because I've fallen for that
Yeah.
before.
No, the most recent one, go to your comic book store, buy that shit. It is, if you're a Star Wars fan and you don't like that book, I would be very fucking surprised. Like,
So good.
plain and simple, read that book.
And it's funny because I remember when Dark Horse had Star Wars and I think it was Brian Wood had signed on and it was doing a Star Wars line. It's like, oh, this is good. This is great. And then Marvel's taking it back. It's like, oh, I don't know if they can do any better. And now it's like, wait, Dark Horse who? What? No,
Yeah.
this is amazing.
I gotta tell you, it was Jason Aaron who started the main Star Wars title, and that was great.
Hmm.
And oh man, of course I knew I had space on it as soon as I said Jason Aaron. But I think we're just getting to issue 50 with it, and it's doing good. Like I like it. I think it's a solid book. It's giving you history. It's kind of expanding on a lot of stuff, and I honestly think it makes a lot of sense.
And I think as you were talking about before with the movies, nobody really knows this universe anymore because the Legends series is out. So to expand on this universe that we all love in a new way is fantastic. I've checked out a lot of books at the library on tape. Don't want anybody to get confused with me actually reading, and listened to a bunch of them. And I've given up on anything that was Legends post The Last Jedi because there's no point anymore in my mind. But catching up on these new books that are coming out, it really explores this world, and it has changed a lot. Like they brought some characters back, like Thrawn, who was just amazing. But for the most part, this world that we're getting into is completely different. Now that being said, I do hope we keep a lot of the old stuff, specifically Darth Bane. He is just an amazing character, and he was the one. He's been mentioned in the prequels, so there's an idea that his storyline will continue. But Darth Bane is the one who came up with the idea that there can only be one Sith, one master, one apprentice, and to read that over 1,000 years before Palpatine took over, and his whole idea was we're going to start and we're going to destroy the Jedi. And then we finally see that take place essentially with The Last Jedi. It's like, holy crap, that is one hell of a looking forward plan. 1,000+ years.
Yeah, seriously.
But
Um,
anyway, I mean, this whole universe that's opening up as Disney takes over what's going to happen in Star Wars. I think they've done good with the movies, but the comic books have just been so off the hook good.
no, they've been great. Like I've really enjoyed since you know uh, Marvel got control of everything, and I don't know. I the cool thing is I wasn't super immersed in the expanded universe. I knew the kind of, I don't know. I guess I knew the basics of it, but I
Mhm.
didn't read it and read all the books for all those years. So it going away wasn't the biggest like problem to me. But I think Marvel, or yeah, Marvel's done a good job with it. Disney's done a good job with it, and I really hope they keep with these comic books because, like I said, this Darth Vader book, you guys need to read this. It is just incredible.
It is. It's good stuff. And I apologize, fans and Brandon. I sidetracked. The other problem I had with Ant Man was we don't have a definitive villain, so to speak. Like we have Walton Goggins. I don't remember what his character's name was. And then we
Dude,
have
I love
Ghost.
Walter Goggins so much. He's
Oh, I
so
do too.
good.
I love him. If you've seen Justified, he's like the man in that show. But in here, it was like, okay, cool. And I was almost bummed because I'm like, it would be so cool if he could have been like a Michael Keaton in Spider-Man or just a bigger, badder villain than what he was. And so that was a little disappointing. But I just didn't see a super definitive villain that was going to be the impetus that everything was going on. But as we
Well,
go along, we realize you don't necessarily need that
yeah, I didn't think
because,
you need it, and I like how they
yeah.
really made like Bill Foster. You know, if you read the comic books, it was really
Oh,
cool to
that
know
twist
that
was so cool.
it was cool that he was going to be in it. So you're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, they're including stuff, and I really like just how they've handled characters and making them different ages and including them in different ways. And I thought his, by the way, guys, spoilers. So right here
Yeah.
now, spoilers. Um, I like his kind of disposition in the movie. And Ghost in the comics is one of my favorite characters. The one thing I was bummed about is I was like, in the comics, you don't know who it is. No one knows who Ghost is. Man, woman, gender. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what man and woman is. You know, they don't know like what gender, what ethnicity, what anything is with Ghost. And I have always thought that is so cool because you know it just kind of like goes through the walls and like it's a crazy espionage person. And I understand you have to give it an identity for this movie, and that's fine. And the actress who played Ghost did an amazing job. And it was almost kind of like the Marvel's been doing this thing where they make the villains kind of relatable.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
you're not even in Infinity War, you're like, I understand what Thanos is saying. He's just saying it from a fucking crazy person perspective. Like he's not Hannah John Kamen played Ghost, and she
Yeah.
did an amazing job. Um,
I did hear, and you may already know this because it's been a while since we've talked, but in Infinity War, I think this was on Reddit, somebody pointed out. So Thanos decides to snap his fingers and 50% of the population goes away. With all that power, he could snap his fingers and just create more resources. It was like, dude, that's fucking dark.
oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, that's some bullshit.
that's fucking like imagine like just like wait. What if you just did this instead?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, movie
okay.
over. Cool. I think we can all get on board with that. We'll help you get the stones.
What I really liked about Ant-Man and the Wasp
Yeah.
is kind of how, because it's funny, you know, Infinity War ends and everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
what
for
the
real.
fuck happened? What is going to happen now? And honestly, Ant-Man started, and I didn't think about Infinity War once until the end of the movie.
Dude, that ending like ripped my heart out of my
Oh,
chest because I had forgotten like
that's the
Infinity
thing.
War. I just forgotten about it.
You kind of forget. And
And then they
then
like
they
stick a
show it.
dagger
He goes down
right in you.
there. Yeah. Well, as soon as he goes
Oh,
down there, I went, fuck. Like,
yeah,
that's what they're doing.
that was
And
harsh.
yeah, okay, so continue. This is still spoilers, everyone.
Yeah,
Basically, you know, he goes into the quantum realm, and Hank Pym and Janet and Hope are all outside, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna pull you back in 3, 2," and they get fucking turned to ash, and he is stuck in the fucking quantum realm.
and he has no idea.
He has no idea what's happened. He doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't know that the world is gone. And
Yeah,
what I like even more is the very end, you know, with the ant
yeah,
still pretending to be him playing the drums or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I get that's funny, but like you see the emergency broadcast on the television. So it's
yeah.
like the world is like, what the fuck has happened? And I think that's just a perfect setup to what we're going to get in the next Avenger. Like it gives you a taste now of kind of what the aftermath is, because you know,
What
in Infinity War you see it happen and you see it taking effect. Now it
that
looks
was
like people are like, "What the fuck's going on?"
that was one of my problems is I don't understand the timeline. When they said that this was explained why Ant-Man and then obviously Wasp and Hank were not involved with the Infinity War.
Yeah.
But as they show the ending, it's like that doesn't explain why they weren't against Thanos. What I don't understand.
Well, because in Infinity War, when they're all talking, it's like, what about Clint and Scott? And like,
Yeah,
well, they took deals with Homeland Security. We're not getting them involved. And I think that like because remember he's like Scott and or who's Scott? And it's like Ant-Man. It's like there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man.
Right.
Um, I think that was just kind of everything happened so quickly in Infinity War. It's not like they could be like, let's go get Scott real quick. It's kind of like, you know, he's at home, he's with his family, he took that deal. We're not going to get him involved in anything.
See, I felt that was okay in Infinity War, but as I was watching Ant-Man, I'm like, whoa, you totally broke your deal to go help Hank and Hope.
But you realize like that all happens within a couple days, and then they have them out. You figure maybe that's a, I don't know, couple weeks after that they go back into the quantum realm again. So like it's just one of those things that well, because even at the end of the movie he breaks it, but he doesn't get caught.
That's what I mean. I mean, saving the world, isn't that a little more important than
I
risk?
understand that.
So I was a little bummed that it didn't make sense to me. I'm like, what? I think you would have gone and helped this, yet you're chilling on the rooftop to go into the quantum realm.
Hey, real quick though,
Yeah.
Randall Park and Michael Pena stole that fucking movie.
And I also, you go ahead and say his name, Kurt. What's his real name?
Kurt?
Yeah.
No, fuck you. I'm not saying that.
I was good.
David Das Malkin. What the fuck? All right.
And I only bring that up because I loved how he was saying the ghost story, like not ghost the character, but he was telling about the ghost story from wherever he's from.
Baba Yaga or whatever.
And I fucking died when he actually saw ghosts. He's like, Baba Yaga, and I'm like, that was great.
That was so good. But man, I want
Yes.
Michael Pena to tell every aspect of the Marvel universe. I love that they did that whole thing with them meeting in jail and everything else, and he's just like, "Oh, I fucked everything up, but I love you so much." And she's like, "Oh, look at me, my haircut, it's all business." And he's like,
and when you hear his voice coming out of Evangeline Lilly's so mouth, you're like, "Oh man, this is weird. I feel weird. This is okay, sure, go ahead."
So good.
And then I loved when he was messing with Walton Goggins' crew, and they're going back and forth with the truth serum.
It's truth. So it's basically truth serum. Yeah. No, it's not. I like when he walks in. He's like, "Who are you, and why do you know so much about the underwashing of cars?"
Yeah. And that's where this movie really excels. Paul Rudd, I don't know how. I mean, he just nails this discomfort factor. Like he will come into a room, he will say his line or whatever, and he'll just stare awkwardly at the other character, and it gets weird, but it's hilarious. And I can't think of another actor that does it as perfect as him, but he pulls it off. But then the opening scene with his daughter in the maze, doing whatever they're doing and coming down the slides, like he just makes everything so believable. He's amazing.
Yeah. To talk about his daughter for a second, I really liked all the kind of foreshadowing they did, because teenage Cassie Lang was cast, or that part was shopped out for Infinity War Part 2, which makes me think there's going to be some time travel. And then with him, you know, with the movie ending with him in the quantum realm, like, you know, I feel like there's going to be some big stuff with that. Like, you know, in the comics, if you don't know, she becomes Stature. She's part of the Young Avengers, and she becomes Stature, which is basically, you know, the Pym particles, and she uses it to grow gigantic. So that's really cool. I love that. And I really wanted to say how good of a job Evangeline Lilly did as the Wasp. You know, she kicks ass in the first one, but now you see her in a suit, just like owning it. And they did such a good job with the shrinking and the getting big and all that. Like, I thought that was so well done.
Yeah, whether it's them doing it or like the salt shaker or the cars,
cool too.
It's so cool. Yeah, that was, my daughter loved that part, of course. Hello, Kitty. Yeah. But yeah, and it was so well written, like you mentioned before with Bill Foster. Just, I thought it was going to be a cameo, and I'm like, I'm shocked that Lawrence Fishburne is basically crossing universes from DC to do this little part. Cool.
Well,
and then I'm like,
DC's on fire. He doesn't give a shit.
Oh, I know. It seems like he might not be back for that.
He's like, can I be Bill Foster more?
I'll be anybody, please.
I will literally do anything.
But they also, like you said earlier, they show that Hank is a dick, and they're not getting to the point of the alcoholism or the beating the wife or
And
anything
I
like
don't think
that.
they're gonna cover that,
No,
but I do
I don't
like
think
that
they
it's
need
like
to.
he's still an asshole.
Yeah, he's an arrogant asshole who's not always right, and they're proving he's not always right. And to show that Bill has his own points, and when he first showed up with Ghost, and it's like, oh my god, you double crossed him, you're evil, blah blah blah. But then you find out more, and you're like, no, you're not. Hank could be seen as evil very easily. Okay, this is interesting. I really liked how the writing was going to that level, and that's where I was getting at. In that, there's not a super baddie, but at the same time, we don't necessarily need one because the writing was so even to explain things. So it gave me this weird feeling that, wait a minute, why don't we have a big bad guy? But wait a minute, we don't need a big bad guy. We're just telling a story here, and
Exactly.
I thought that was good.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to talk about Evangeline Lilly, though, like
Yeah,
just how good of a job she did, is um, Kevin Feige was talking that in the next couple years, 50% of the Marvel universe is going to be women. And after Infinity War, when you see the scene of, um, fuck, what is her name from Black Panther? The one from Walking Dead that plays the security guard. Why can't I remember her name right now? The big fight that happens with
I
her
know.
and Black Widow,
Why can't I
and
think of her name in this movie? Shoot.
anyways, that right there was such a thing of like, look at how much ass they like. I wish Gamora hadn't been thrown to her death
Yeah.
because um, it's going to be
Danaya
amazing.
Guerrero as Okayo.
Yeah. Okay. That scene where they're fighting Proxima Midnight in Wakanda was one of the
Mhm.
most baller fucking scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Uh,
Yeah,
and
because
I'm
it
so
was.
excited to see like Evangeline Lilly get thrown into that
Yeah,
with everything they just did in this movie. And what I'm
yeah,
really stoked for is Black Widow just got a director, so there's going to be a solo Black Widow film.
which about goddamn time, right?
Dude, rewatching Iron Man 2, rewatching the
Yeah.
Avengers movies, it's like she kicks so much ass, and you can absolutely do a spy heavy movie with her.
And what I like about the press release that came out, I've been wondering because it's been rumored for a long time. They're doing a solo Black Widow. They're doing a solo Black Widow, and it's like, okay, you'd think they'd have it done by now or have something moving forward. If I read it correctly, it took them a year and a half to get the right director, and obviously they were involving Scarlett on helping to pick who was going to direct this movie.
Yeah, she actually pushed for this person. It was Kate
Shortland.
Shortland. And I guess the movie she's known for is this World War II movie, and I that just excites the shit out of me. Like the fact that you did a good war movie and you're going to do a Black Widow thing, and it's not like a shoot 'em up kind of war scene movie. It's kind of like a espionage type thing. Like I have so much faith in Marvel doing a good espionage heavy story, and I'm so excited to see just Black Widow have her own shit.
And I think, did I read this right? It's supposed to be before the Avengers.
It's prior to the first Avengers movie.
Okay, so when you said no, it's prior. You meant
Oh
yes,
yes,
it's
no,
prior.
it is. Yes, yes. Sorry. I think you're really going to get into like her history, probably like how she goes from Russia to Shield and all that. Like, I'm really, really excited to see that.
Because we've only really gotten sneak peeks of her ability in that world. If I'm, God, sorry, I'm old, my memory, but was it the beginning of Civil War where she's being interrogated,
Um,
or was
no,
that
that's the
Avengers?
beginning of Avengers.
Avengers
She like
two?
breaks out of the chair.
Was that Avengers one?
That was the first Avengers. Yeah, that's her
Dear
introduction.
God. Okay, but that's like the like one of the few times we actually see her in her element doing what she is really good at. I mean, she's really good at all this other stuff, but that's what she does. And then she talks down the Hulk, which is cool. Um, but we really don't get to see much of her doing her spy stuff.
No,
So I think this is
You get
I
to
think
see
this is
her
awesome.
hand to hand, but you don't get to
Yeah,
see her being like, yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is with the Russia tie-in and the Red Room tie-in, you can use Bucky for those movies. I mean, Sebastian Stan has 9 more movies he's contracted for, I
I
think.
know.
So like, you can use him in this. You can do this, and I love the idea of seeing where she came from and like how she gets picked up by Fury and Shield. I mean, that gives more room for Hawkeye to make an appearance. Like, I can't wait for this movie. Like, I cannot wait for this.
That is the one thing you say Hawkeye. I'm wondering if Jeremy Renner is totally like, yeah, I'm getting tired of Marvel because I'm not really feeling it. Like Hawkeye's never really a part of
I
this.
mean, he is playing Hawkeye, so he knows that comes with the territory, is being treated like a bitch because, you know.
You don't have love for Purple Arrow?
No, I've always just talked shit because Cubby loves him so much. I actually
I
really
know.
like Hawkeye, but
That
I
is the
just
best.
love making jabs about him because I know it hurts Cubby on a
Cubby's one of our
certain
few
level.
listeners, so we have to say it.
But no, I thought about that too. Did you ever see the interview with him about when Infinity War was going on?
No.
And he's like, everybody keeps asking, "Where's Hawkeye?" But nobody's asking, "How's Hawkeye?"
That's funny.
And I was like, perfect. That's all that needs to be said. But yeah, either way, I think this is dope. I think it's really cool she's gonna get her own.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see just kind of everybody to share this screen together. Like, I really think they're gonna do some cool things in the future.
Because
Like,
next up we have Captain Marvel, right? That's the next
Captain Marvel
movie.
is January, I believe. Is it January? It's early in the year, and
Okay.
then roughly Infinity War 2 or whatever they're gonna call it is roughly like the same time that this one came out this year, so Mayish.
Because I guess that's what I'm just floored at Marvel. I will go back to Thor, Ragnarok, to Black Panther, to Infinity War, to Ant-Man. It's like, holy crap, they are in
Oh, let's
quite a
just
roll.
knock the shit out of these movies.
Yeah, and it's funny because in my opinion, I loved Thor the best because Dark World was not good, and I just was like, I don't know what they're going to do with Thor, and then I fucking loved it. But then you followed up with Black Panther, which was just I had no expectations, and it was amazing.
Oh, it was one of the best, out the gate. Like,
Exactly, like right from go. And then Infinity War is like, okay, let's see how they do this. And it's like, oh shit,
yeah.
wow, they did it. To Ant-Man, which thank God was more of a pick me up, but it's like, man, I don't even know if you could pick a favorite out of those. They're just awesome.
And they're all good in their own way. Like, that's
Yeah,
what's cool about Marvel is you've done all these individual movies and you give each character its own tone and its own voice, but then putting them all in a movie together, it still works.
that you bring up a good point because when they were showing the previews for Thor, Ragnarok, I thought for sure they were just ripping off Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, oh come on, they're just making Thor into a different version of Guardians of the Galaxy. How lame! Not at all. Completely his own voice. It's Thor in the team up with the Hulk. Fucking awesome. Just
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, they're
And then they
killing it.
when meet again in Infinity War, it's like when they actually meet in Infinity War, it's like that is probably the funniest combo of two characters ever.
Oh, that was so good. And it's funny because when you see World War, or when you read World War Hulk, that is not how those two characters are. Like, Meek is the secret bad guy to that whole thing,
That's funny.
and it's just so funny seeing it like this because you're just like, God damn it! Like, I tried to start a revolution, but I didn't print out enough pamphlets.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking good shit. And I guess a lot of that movie was ad libs.
That's what I've read. And that's even more impressive. That
Yeah.
fucking Hemsworth, dude. That guy's so wicked talent. It sucks.
Oh, it's one of the. It's like the Justin Timberlake situation where, like,
Yeah,
oh, you're funny and you're good looking and you're good at acting. Like, it's like, dude, just
and he got a
pick
great
one.
body. And from what I
Can you just pick?
understand, you can sing. It's like Jesus, you suck.
Can you just pick one? Like,
Yeah,
I don't have any.
dick.
I know, asshole. Fuck
And
you.
from him,
Now
he's
we don't like Chris
Australian, so it's
Hemsworth.
like, will any girl ever turn you down? No.
Now I just hate Chris Hemsworth for all the reasons.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
that's
I
all.
mean, yeah. But enough talking about how attractive and great Chris Hemsworth is.
But if
Um,
it makes you feel better, the other Hemsworth, not Liam, but the other one is on Westworld,
yeah,
and I think
the
you and I have a shot against
he
him.
also
We could take
played
him.
he also played Thor in.
I
He's the one
know
playing Thor in the beginning
that was so
with
perfect.
Sam Neill and
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Oh, that was fucking great. Oh, one last thing we definitely wanted to talk about. I get. Oh, yeah, actually, you know what? We're gonna have time for two things. I want to bring this up real quick. Neil, fucking, of course, can't pronounce the last name. Blomkamp,
Yeah, District
right?
9. Yeah.
Yeah. He's working on a RoboCop movie that is based off of an unused script from the original movie, like a sequel to it that was unused.
Cool.
And I'm stoked on that because I think he does a good job with all the kind of tech stuff. But I think it is going to take place in the 80s, so that just has me all kinds of excited.
That'll be interesting because Paul Verhoeven is a dark, violent, bleak motherfucker. And I don't think Neil is. As weird as that sounds, like District 9 was a hard look at immigration and segregation,
Yeah,
but it had its funny moments and it got dark, but it was almost like comical. And even Elysium was dark. I guess Elysium was dark. I didn't see Cabby or whatever that one was. Um, yeah,
but
okay.
Cappy
I've
was hella
convinced
good,
myself he
dude.
can do it.
Cappy was hella good.
Yeah, he can
Um,
do it. I just Paul Verhoeven is so goddamn dark.
but anyways, the reason I thought about him was because they're doing Alien 3. Well, you can explain this better than I can.
So when Alien 3 came out, David Fincher, not quite the David Fincher we know, but the same director, he was just, I think that was his directorial debut. He'd done music videos and stuff before that. He did Alien 3. And the studio, Fox at the time, just really cut it up and made their movie and didn't really ever release David Fincher's vision of the movie. Um, so we still won't have David Fincher's vision of the movie, but we are getting a look from Dark Horse Comics of William Gibson's original script of the movie, which sounds phenomenal because it picks up with I don't remember the name of the ship. Sorry, I'm not that nerdy, guys. But the one that Ridley Bishop and I forgot his name, Michael Bain. I can't remember his character's name, but the one that they're on gets picked up by I can't remember the name of the corporation, but not the bad guys, not Wayland, but the corporation, and we find out
Skynet.
that exactly,
Skynet grabs him.
and the Terminator shows up. But
Yes.
no, so basically it delves more into this world that Wayland Corporation is really trying to build this army of xenomorphs, and then this other group that picked up them was sort of in competition, building up their own army, and all hell breaks loose, obviously. But it incorporates Ridley, who was in a coma when they picked her up, um, as well as Bishop, and for the life of me, I don't know why I can't remember the character's name, but Michael Baine's character, who we all
Greg.
love and got to interview once upon a time, which is awesome. But it just sounds, not that the prison planet wasn't good or anything like that. It just sounds so much more like the Alien movies we know and love, which does not include the prequels, Brandon. And I can't wait to see how Corporal Hicks, that's his name, but I can't wait to see how Dark Horse pulls this off because they did a really good job telling a lot of these stories in the alien world recently, including some prequel stories. But they also did a really good job with the Terminator stories. So I can't wait to see how they pull off this original version of the script in comic book form.
Yeah. Um, they do a really good job. I like kind of this. That's another cool thing just about comic books. It's like you can just take things and be like, oh well, we're gonna do a comic book adaptation of it. It's way less, money. It it's not like you have to do a casting thing. You can use likenesses and you can do all that. It's
Exactly.
Oh, Michael Bain, Corporal Hicks. That's who it
Yeah,
is. I thought it was
yeah.
Greg. I was off. It's not Greg.
But in the third one that we saw as a movie, he's dead. So just
Yeah.
the idea that he could still be alive, I am a big fan of.
This is now. Was this the same idea that Neil Blomkamp had?
It sounds very similar because, well, I should say the similarities in that
That's how I
were
brought up Rogue
Hicks was still alive and Ridley and Bishop.
Yeah.
I think Newt maybe too, but I don't know.
Okay.
And Newt was the little girl for all those younger people who may not have seen Aliens.
Yeah, and then like that just sucked because it was like, here she is, there
Yeah,
she goes.
she's gone.
Yeah.
And that was
Um.
they talked about in the news release. There was I don't remember this far back, but they wanted to release Alien 3. Fox wanted to release it in the late 80s, to still build on it, where Aliens came out in 86. And they didn't like the script that was turned in, even though they basically dictated the storyline. And so they weren't thrilled with it. And then there was a writer strike. So that pushed it back even further. So it didn't get released until 92. And I just think that there may have been too much tinkering with it. And in the end, it was okay. And now that we've seen the whole Alien universe to date, it actually is better than a lot of the other movies like Resurrection, or Prometheus, or you know what I mean.
No,
But
the really good movies, Prometheus, you're talking about.
yeah, they're better than Covenant. But I still couldn't watch either of those. They're both awful. But I think it's held up better than it was at the time. But it's still, I think the script could have been better, and I think hopefully that's what we'll see from um, Dark Horse.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, I love that they're doing stuff like that, and I kind of hope that, I don't know, they decide to do more things like that because it's worked out for them in the past.
I agree. I agree. I know you said there was only two more topics, but I wanted to throw one more at you.
No, let's do it.
Um, we're getting another Joker.
Oh, okay, yeah. I feel like this is something like I should have been more excited about, but I don't know. This could be good because I think they're just doing a movie like, we're so used to comic book movies with everything being connected, like,
Hmm. Yeah.
oh, like this leads into this and this connects to that, and DC took the fast track and tried to do that with Man of Steel, and even at the beginning of Justice League, you see Green Lantern and kind of Shazam or whatever the fuck and all that. And I think we're so used to everything being connected. I don't think people are realizing yet that this is just Warner Brothers being like, we own the Joker. This is like a mini series,
Yeah.
you know? And I think this could be a good thing. I mean, you can kind of take it out of the gross tone that the DC cinematic universe has just been dipped in lately, and almost do it like, I have a feeling they're going to do something like a crime film.
Like year one, like Batman Year One sort of thing.
I just think you're going to see a Joker origin movie. Like, I don't think you're going to have
Right.
Batman involved. I think it's going to be.
But isn't that no? Maybe I'm mixing up old
Oh, you're
comics.
thinking. I'm thinking you might get something like him, being the like kind of the Killing Joke thing. So you might see Batman as like, the reason he turns into the Joker or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what to think. But I want to say this could be good.
What was the? I can't remember what was the book. I'm not even going to embarrass myself. Never mind. I just recently saw Justice League, as I told you. Holy crap, that was a piece of shit. But
Uh,
the one thing that's so disappointing about DC is I think they've cast the right people in these roles. Like personally, I think Henry Cavill as Superman is great. I think Jason Momoa as Aquaman is great. Obviously, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is fantastic. I did not mind Jared Leto as the Joker. I thought it was fine. I thought it was good. But holy crap, they cannot tell a story to save their soul. So I'm really hoping
yeah.
whatever they do with this, that Todd Phillips is the one who's writing and directing it. I really hope they just tell a good story.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't I didn't like Jared Leto's Joker just because like I don't know. It was so like he was so in love with Harley. It bothered the shit out of me. And I think they've done a lot to kind of push Harley away from the victim. Like for the longest time, she was his
Hmm.
trophy of his power and his corruption and like just how much influence he could have over somebody. And now they've done a lot to really push her to be her own person and to get over that and to not be trapped by him. And I thought that would have been a lot cooler since you're definitely trying to make her more of a heroine in the movies to have him be that piece of shit and then have her be like, no, fuck you, I'm out. And that's
I
just
can
me
see that.
nitpicking. That's just me nitpicking
No,
because
I can
Suicide
see that,
Squad
but that's
wasn't
where
great.
I just
Wasn't great anyways.
yeah, exactly. I think they can't tell a damn story. But when it just like Joker being on screen, not taking into account his storyline with Harley Quinn, I'm like, oh, he's not bad. I enjoy his mannerisms. I dig what
No,
he's
he
doing.
he didn't
It's
he didn't
not
he
bad.
didn't he didn't do a bad job. Like
Yeah.
he took his own take on it. It's its own thing. He's a lot different than any other version. And Jared Leto's an amazing actor, and he did a good job with it. But that's just me being Batman's my favorite, and I want everything to be the way I want it to be. But
Yeah.
no, I'll give him that. What I want to end with is making you choose if you had to watch one movie for a day, would you watch Suicide Squad or Justice League?
Oh, I was about to say Justice League because I do love Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot,
But it's really bad.
but my hatred of the New Gods and the fact that it focuses on them and Steppenwolf is so stupid.
What a fucking cop out ending with that
Oh
villain
my
too. It was
god.
like you had this big thing, you could have beat the shit out of him, and instead it's like he's scared. So they all like fuck you. That was like when you were in school and you had to write a story and you didn't know how to
Yeah.
end it, so you just said it was a dream. Like I have fucking done that before.
Yeah. It, and I guess I'm so far from Suicide Squad that I'm
You've
maybe making
forgotten
it
how bad it
better in
is.
my mind.
You've forgotten
But
how bad it is.
I just remember my review of Suicide Squad as like being the only movie I've ever seen start good and like go worse with each passing minute.
Just like it starts out high and just drops immediately.
Yeah, whereas at least Justice League was all over the place, so there were moments of good spattered in with like crap. Damn,
You know what
man.
my biggest problem with Justice League and the two scenes that stick out more than any other. I want to watch it again just to like see if those two stick out more than any other. But how fucking fake the rooftop at the beginning looked, and
Yeah.
how fake the street looked when Cyborg talks to Wonder Woman.
And I
They
think I
both look so fucking phony. Like
yeah, I just
like
don't
you
like
can't
Zack
film on
Snyder's
location.
vision.
Yeah, but I was just like, you can't film on location.
Exactly. It's like,
You,
okay, so everybody hated on George Lucas, yet you have a fool here, and we should have learned this lesson, and CG's way better now, but you have an idiot who's doing it nonstop now, and we don't need it.
yeah.
It's horrible.
Well, here's the thing: you can do CGI. Like fucking most of Avengers is CGI.
Yeah,
But look at the difference between the two.
it's so bad.
It's terrible.
It's I just don't understand what's going on. Like why is Batman going to meet with Aquaman and we introduce Aquaman, but then Aquaman introduces
No.
himself again later?
Also, Bruce Wayne doesn't give a fuck who knows he's Batman. Everyone knows he's fucking
Oh yeah.
Batman. Everyone knows he's Batman. You're Bruce Wayne. Think of like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like in real life, if fucking Elon Musk walked into a small fucking village or somebody knows who that man is.
Yeah.
There statistically, someone in the fishing village is like, that's fucking Elon Musk. That's fucking Bruce Wayne.
And
He's
he
just
keeps
carrying around batarangs.
Yeah, and he keeps saying, like Jason Momoa was like, "Oh, dress up like his bat, huh?"
Yeah, like how
Like,
the fuck does he know
like,
this?
shh, be quiet, dude. That's my secret.
The bro lives in the ocean and he
Yeah,
knows you're Batman.
yeah, and that was honestly a little confusing. I watched it twice because I really enjoyed his scene meeting with Mara, but I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, he's not the king of Atlantis at the moment. He's
No.
just he's just meeting Mara, and he's just realizing he's the king of Atlantis. What the fuck has he been doing?
I don't know. I think that's, I mean, I keep forgetting too. That movie's coming out at the end of the year. So we will get answers to that.
I hope so, because one of my big things, and this is where we all saw this happening after Man of Steel and the mediocre success. It was okay, it was good, it was fine, whatever. And they immediately announce Batman versus Superman, and you're like, what? You guys haven't done anything else. Why are you going straight to that?
That
And then it
thing
just
was a
became,
fucking disaster as the more it went on. It was like
I
Batman versus
know.
Superman. Okay, all right, I guess. Ben Affleck. Bad direction. Worst direction.
Oh,
Then
I
you
saw
see
that
it,
video somewhere, dude.
Batman murders everybody. Oh, you still have my reaction?
Oh yeah, somewhere. I gotta
I
find
will
it.
stand by that he's not as bad as I thought he was going to be, but
He was better in Dawn of Justice. I thought he was horrible in Justice League.
oh,
And I thought
the whole thing was bad.
his relationship with Alfred, Jeremy Irons, is like, I don't think you guys care about each other.
At
And
all.
I know for a fact in the comic book and the Nolan movies and the Burton movies, you do. So what in the hell is going on?
Yeah, the whole like I don't know, the and
And
even
my
like the
biggest problem is,
Flash using like time travel or whatever the fuck it was, like I don't know.
yeah. eh, But my biggest problem was when Dawn of Justice and they went to establish that in Man of Steel, Superman was the first and he's coming out, and then all these other people are going to follow. But then immediately, I don't even remember how far in the future we are, where he's like this god icon, and Batman's been doing this for years, even though supposedly Superman was the first one to come about doing it.
Oh yeah,
And then,
Batman's been hiding for years in Gotham, but it's like Superman's first superhero.
yeah, and okay, so Wonder Woman, her movie was awesome, but she decides to stay in hiding until Dawn of Justice, even though Zod is coming down and like fucking destroying
Not only that,
Metropolis.
not only that, she comes out twice because the second movie's taking place in the 80s.
And that makes no sense. I'm like, God damn it, DC, you have no clue what you're doing.
No, Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot is fucking perfect. She is so good as
Yeah,
Wonder Woman, incredible. Like that role was made for her. She kills it. I, I think Wonder Woman's the best DC movie to come out so far. The ending with the boss battle kind of sucked, but the rest of the
yeah,
movie loved every minute of it.
yep.
I'm excited for the sequel, and I like seeing her, but it's like, dude, you guys have just fucked this up. Like, I almost feel like this is a Hugh Jackman situation. You found the perfect person for the role, but you're gonna make
Yeah.
a bunch of garbage movies with them in it.
But you made Wolverine Origin.
Yeah, and then
I'm
it's like
like,
she'll make a good one, and then she'll die at the end in Wonder,
yeah.
like Logan. Yeah, but
So, dude, I don't know. Can I just watch the trailer for Suicide Squad? Because that trailer was
yes, we
awesome.
thought we no, because the trailer you're gonna think it was great. We'll get back to that,
That's a catch-22 right there, dude.
dude. For real, like I thought about that. Like they're both equally terrible.
Yeah, in their own
Speaking of,
special
I'm gonna
way.
start rewatching some old comic book movies and reviewing them, you guys. So just pay attention to the YouTube channel because I haven't watched a lot of these movies in quite some time, and I feel like it's time to revisit and see if still like them now, or like them less.
Do you have a first one up?
I was thinking I was gonna start with X-Men, just because
Okay.
that's like kind of the baseline for this whole generation of superhero movies to start with.
I keep thinking that's 90s, and I think it's
You and me
2000.
both. I definitely have thought that has been 90s for a while,
Yeah,
and I do think it was 2000. No, was it 99?
because I have to base it on Hugh Jackman, and Hugh Jackman. I mean,
2000 came out on in 2000.
oh, I don't think it's gonna hold up
Yeah.
because I just remember the outfits, and they were not good.
I'm just
But I was
excited to
curious.
watch Hugh Jackman get more buff as we go into his past.
That is true, and it's funny. I bet you, like to me, he hasn't aged, but I bet you he does look super young in the first one.
Yeah, all right. I'm gonna get on that. I'll try to get that maybe the week next week or so. But
Cool.
that's what I'm gonna start doing. So pay attention.
Very cool.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and our YouTube channel, and check out nerdlocker.com. And however you're listening to this, if you haven't subscribed, press that subscribe button. Do it. It's fun. But anyways, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, everybody have a nerdy week.